Hello, welcome back to the GLAC Studios oil painting tutorial. I am Gomati Sivasankaran. We are in class 12 of the oil painting tutorial of Radha Krishna. And before we get started, let's do a short recap of what we have done so far. Uh, so we started with the layer one on the canvas, understanding references, selecting references, and also planning and plotting. Then the layer two uh, was more on blocking, uh, and yeah, it was blocking, and you can also call it filling. So we did that, and when we did the blocking or filling, we were able to just assess where things will go. That we did, and then we are now in layer three, which is slightly looking like blocking, but then it has some angles, some dark or light ascertainment to it. In the last session, we focused only on Krishna's body, skin tone. So we worked with just two color ranges, as in the light version and slightly darker version of blue. And I did it very slowly so we could grasp the concept of the light and dark. But then now we will do it slightly faster when we are going to work on the other sections. So that's something we will do today, slightly what do you call faster, meaning we will have in the last class what we did was we only filled in a darker shade first, and wherever there was space then we started filling in a lighter shade. To speed up the process, we will first mix both light dark shades, or maybe more than two shades if we need in certain places, just to have some angle tonality. Maybe have two to three brushes ready, so one for each color range, and then keep juggling around. That way we are doing it slightly faster. So that's how we are going to approach today's session. Before we are going to start with the layer 3 on, let's say, Radha's skin tone, I remember we talked about making few more changes to her face. I wasn't so very convinced with the face in the first the first layer, second layer, and I was keeping that in mind. So we will also do a bit of correction today in our session. So we will start with the correction first, and then move to um, body coloring. So for what we are going to do today, I will definitely need a zero brush to mark things, and also in very delicate areas I will need that. I have an angular brush with me. It's brush 18 from the small series, and I have a couple of brushes that I'm going to take and use. One is brush number one, I think. Yes, this is brush number one. And I have brush number two as well. Both these are round brushes, and maybe I will have another flat brush handy ready. I might not need, but I'm going to have a flat brush number four with me ready. I don't see the need of a large brush though. So this is what I'm going to keep ready in front of me to get started. The palette is the very same use and throw palette that I have. Oils, I don't see the need for refill. So it's the same raw linseed oil poured in the tin lid. That is it. With respect to the colors, I will need um, titanium white, which is almost come to a end here. I will use that. titanium white, and I will need yellow ochre, burnt umber when I want slightly darker shades, yellow ochre, burnt umber. We already talked about white. I will take vermilion as well. Um, that's the maximum range I will work on, especially on her body. Yeah, and then we will start working on something lighter, maybe the clothing, or Krishna's clothing or something also. So let's see that. Let's first do this first. Yeah. So I am going to mix the colors first, and then we will start with corrections. Yes. So mixing the colors, and like I said, when you're going to mix a wide range of colors, the easiest way that I will usually suggest, that this is how I do it. I'm not suggesting that this is the exact way one should do. I usually like mixing a bit of yellow ochre with vermilion. These two are my primary colors for to get a skin tone, and it would be dark or light. I could add a bit more, of vermilion, depending upon whether I want it slightly, on the pinky side or so, and then add the white to make it lighter. And I will, on the contrast, would add burnt umber if I want to make it slightly darker. So this is how I usually go around doing, and I am not going to use this, but I just show you. I add primary yellow to skin tonalities that are, let's say, for example, um, some Asian skin tonalities. We have the yellow tonality. So if needed, I would use that, but not for this case. No, but just to tell you, even before get started, this is how I'm going to start. So I'm going to now push the camera around, focus on the palette directly so it's easier for us, and you can see what I'm mixing. Mhm. So I take yellow ochre, yellow ochre light. You might find it slightly lighter, so you add less of white. That's a simple thing. Otherwise, it's all from the same family. Um, and then vermilion. So I'm going to add. Keep them both ready here. So when I mix, I'm taking brush number one, and I want to only mix these two first without adding any other color tonality to it. Yeah. So I'm mixing everything fully. Now, can you see it's slightly on the um, very, very dark? It's not a pink color, but it's a dark skin tone. Yeah. I will keep this. Not going to mix anything to this totally, but some of it I'm going to take away here. Yeah. Some of it, and push it here. And this one, to this, I will try to add white. So I'm keeping a chunk of white ready. And I'm going to take a bit of white to mix here. And I would like to see how that goes and how light it turns into. It's slightly dry, so I'm going to touch a bit of the oil. Do you see the skin tone? It's on the, what do you call, a beautiful light pink color. Mm. I like this lighter tonality. I have a dark tonality when I need. Um, I need another darker tonality. Maybe not for everywhere, but at least in the sections where I want to, show some depth. So for that, I'm going to take a bit of burnt umber. So it's the same brush number one that I have. I'm not going to use this brush because I want to have this ready for this lighter skin tone. So I am going to take another brush. Yes, take this brush, zero, and I'm going to add burnt umber. So I'm going to mix burnt umber here to this. It becomes a very dark brown tonality. I will use the burnt umber directly also if I need, but then I get this very dark skin tonality. Yeah, so it's really dark. So I have really three color tonalities here, if you see. Yeah, so the colors are ready. Now I'll start with the correction. For the correction, I will use this brush zero and the color that I mixed with brown, burnt umber. So it has the yellow ochre and the vermilion mixed, and that's how it is. Slightly lighter than the actual burnt umber, but it's on the same lines. So I'm still going to refer to the black and white version of the reference, the first reference. That's right here. And do you see um, in my case where the correction goes, I have I have kind of changed that feature there in the eye. Mm. So I have to work on that by just finishing the eye here and also expanding slightly the head and the face here. Yeah. And contracting the cheek slightly, ever so slightly here. I have actually drawn only a single line. It's not fully done, but already I can see that it looks slightly better than what it is because of the eye and the possibility that it will shift. So I'll have to fill the lighter pink color wherever needed. So that's one. So right now I'm going to look at the space where the colors are going to be different or shaded. Yeah. For that, we start with the line in the cheek, underneath the chin. Yeah. So I'm only marking now, but then when we are coloring, we are going to keep switching, isn't it? So I did that, and maybe very close to the necklace that she is wearing. Yeah. This side of her forehead, and I will assume that this cheek also has a ever so light shading here. The ear isn't visible fully because of some ornaments which we have missed. We will have to work on that. So now we are going to come to the hand. The hand again, very close to the blouse that she is wearing. This is one angle where it is darker right here. Um, the inner side of it, so I don't want to go deep depth into it. So I'm just slightly marking here. In between the fingers, I think we'll have to do that line when we work on the details. And uh, remember, I included a slight portion of the hip to be visible. So I'm going to make it slightly darker. Yeah. And that's about it for the body here. Okay. And now I am going to work on the foot. If you see, there should be a good amount of shade here because of the skirt. And the underneath this um, the accessory that she's wearing, and here, yes. So we have marked it. It doesn't take much time. So we have marked. Now we are ready to move on to do the coloring. So let's keep shifting. I have the same brush mixed with this color tonality ready, and I do have the zero brush also ready. Going to get started with the face. So I have both the brushes in my hand and I'm just moving around, filling the face in those sections. And I haven't done the nose as yet. Yeah, I'm going to do that as well. Right away. Yeah. I'm just filling in the face. All right. So now look at this. I just adjusted ever so lightly here, the way the face appears. Hmm? So I'm going to go back to this brush, zero brush, and start adding that tonality right away in the side so it doesn't look so odd here, and doing blending this right here, coming to the cheek, blending the cheek in. Yes, and I'm going to do that for the neck, switching back to the lighter tonality here. I would add a little more of the yellow ochre if I were doing natural, what do you call, a human body, but I just want this nice pink for her to just contrast with um, Krishna's blue skin. Yeah, otherwise I would really not have it that pinky. Maybe let's see. Once we are doing with the other layer, working on other layers, maybe I will change a little bit. But let's see. For now, it looks okay. Okay. I already begin to see that it's coming well here. Now I'm going to blend in that darker or the medium color. It's not the darkest, the medium of the colors. Slightly on top of the eye, kind of giving that angle to the eyelid. So I'm not watching, I'm not looking at the picture yet, but I'm just doing it. I will cross check with the picture and I'm going slightly underneath the eye also. This will blend well with the pink. Doesn't matter. So don't worry too much about it. Just blend as much as it can blend with it. Yeah. This is not the darkest of the color, huh? Isn't it? So just blend that, bring that in. And now I need to wipe off this brush because I want the same zero brush for the darkest of the colors. Huh? The burnt umber mixed with this color. So this is what I would need to just define those, you know, eyebrows and the eye. Okay. Now I have to just mix a bit off. So I'm now removing this darker brown tonality, going back to the medium color range that we built. Yeah. And I'm going to come back with the nose. Yeah. So I'm starting from the top, the eyelid, the left eye or our right side. So I'm trying to bring it down. So I see this nose angle that I would like to bring down. Yeah. I'm going to do that. So you start to see that nose angle coming up ever so lightly. Yeah. So if you can see what I have done here, I have only added this darkest of that color for the eyebrow and the eye, just giving it an angle. And just like this, the Krishna that we did, it is just the same. Nothing into the detail as yet. It is coming close to detailing, but it is not the perfect detailing as yet. And I'm coming underneath the nose. So these are all spots that are slightly darker. So I'm just shading that will give a suggestion that there is this nose. Yeah. Just shading them like that. And now I'm going to go back to wiping off my brush one more time. Going back to the darkest of the brown tonalities that we mixed for the lip. Hmm? Remember the very ever so light M, the flattened M or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so I'm just doing that. So it's convenient. Wiping off the brush because I want to blend something here. It's because I made some mistake very, very lightly. It wasn't so smiley, so I'm just going to adjust that. So in that way, I'm able to build that space. And I'll have to make sure that the nose comes out ever so lightly. Yeah. So I am wiping off the brush frequently. You see me doing that. Going back to the medium color that we built. I'm just filling in the lip one more time, adding on to that brown. I, I don't want it to be totally brown or the raw umber types. There you go. The smile is coming. Kind of. Not the best smile, but not bad. This is enough for now. She's smiling and her face structure is slightly changed. It looks like we'll have to readjust the blue, isn't it, here? And also the white of I'm gonna take a white to just, do that angle here. That's the flower, very close to her cheek. Ah, I did that, so it's a little bit of relief. I need the blue as well, but still, for now, it looks okay because I took the white. So I have enough of the titanium white that I haven't mixed with any color. So I'm using that. I'm taking a bit of the titanium white here, and I'm just going over and rolling in that part where I want the nose to come, making it ever so light. So it's just going to be a suggestion now. It's not going to be a detail, but it's going to suggest that there is the nose here. Yeah. So we have her nose here marked. So it looks kind of okay now. Seeing if it needs a slight. Yeah. So it's very suggestive, but it is defined. That is helpful. And I'm just going to do a white line to kind of mark that layer, which I will color into the darker blue when we go for the other layer. It's just for me to understand that this isn't her cheek. Yeah. So I think I have enough of adjustments made here. I'm going to go back to the darker brown and maybe use it here on the sections where it has to be slightly more darker. Just trying to define it one more time. Yes. And I think we can use that brown, though we haven't added ivory black to it. We could use this to fill her hair, or I'm just thinking, should I add a little bit of ivory black to give that edge? Mm, yes, I found it. So I'm taking a very tiny bit of that ivory black. So look at the way I'm taking. I'm just using it from here with my zero brush. And I'm going to place it ever so lightly close to that section and add a bit of that black to my burnt umber mixture right here. Mhm. Yes. This is the burnt umber mixture. I'm taking a bit of this black and blending it here. So we have this brown. It is still the darkest of the brown or the burnt umber, but it has a tint of ivory black in it. Yep. So this is the color that I want to use for her hair as well. Doing the same thing, now marking her hairline. And now I want to be sure that I am marking as much I need for the hair close to the ear, and also remembering all those side angles that we missed last time. Okay, and then the hair right behind the crown. Now we go to the hair that is coming out in the back from that crown, falling down her shoulders. Wasn't this easy? So we have given her that edge now. Good. So I'll have to wipe off this brush again. Keep it ready because we are going to do the similar exercise. Moving back to brush number one with the pink. And I'm going to fill it in here around her elbow. So I'm just moving the camera here so you get to see a little more. So filling it in the hand. The elbow very close to her blouse. Yeah. So, so just blending in that medium tonality near the bangles, coming close to that elbow again. Blend that in, especially on the folds. Yeah, so I'm doing that. And then I come to the hand, again, working very close to the bangles. And I go up the curve, close to the fingers of Radha. And what I am doing right now is to pick up a bit of that color tonality that you see in the near the eye and the eyebrow. Just taking that, and I'm going to work on the fingers. And this is what we learned, something different from what we have done before. When we did the Krishna's hand, the fingers, we did not do details or we did not do the finger lines. But here, yeah, you see that I am going to do slightly differently versus what you have seen in the previous class. So right now you see that I'm drawing those finger lines. Yeah. So this is one step up as compared to what we did in the previous class. So we are also trying to define a little bit of the hand, how it looks. Yeah. We could have done that in the last class also, but we just did it at a basic level, and now we are trying to um, work. When we come back to Krishna's third or the next layer, we will definitely be doing this detail for Krishna's hand or finger as well. Um, yes, right now I'm just looking at those cheek lines of Radha and also the eyes. Maybe it needs a slight bit of adjustment, so I'm just doing that with the darker tonality that we mixed, the darkest of the brown or the burnt umber mixed with our crimson and yellow ochre. Hmm. So I did that. I'm now going to just move this canvas slightly up so we can focus a bit on what's being done here on her foot. So I'm just, the camera is moving towards the foot, and right now I have picked up the pink color, or the lighter color tonality that we mixed, filling that foot first. And you will also see me doing the toes, yeah, this time, as compared to what we did in the previous session where we just filled the foot of Krishna. Right now we are going to fill, and right after the fill you will see me adding those toes as well. So just filled it. Good. And now I'm ready to switch to the zero brush, taking a bit of that burnt umber or the darker tonality that I mixed alongside yellow ochre and yellow ochre and vermilion. Right now I'm using that to draw that toe. And you see how those fingers or the toes are coming up on the foot. And also remember that it is her left foot. So we'll have to just adjust things accordingly and make for that small little curve that will come up in the smallest toe on the left side. Yeah, so that's what I'm drawing right now. Yeah, making that slight curve, tiny curve. Yeah, so I did that, and right now I can see her toes appearing. Maybe not to perfection, but we are drawing it. So this is something that we can do. Right now, I am going to move the camera up. So the next thing we are going to work on is the sari and the skirt that she's wearing. So we're going to do that. But just before that, the last but not the least area is her hip. That's what I'm working on. Yeah. And I am adding the slight dark tonality, the medium tonality that we mixed. And to that, I'm adding the light pink. Um, and just making it defined, nothing much. I'm not going into any of the details there. It is supposed to be slightly darker to the overall body. The reason being it is hidden, and it's also covered by so many elements like a sari and so on. Yeah. So we are also going back to looking at our gridded paper to just check where things are, so we can start working on the sari, the garment, and the color. Remember the reference to that I'm right now showing. The reference to is what I said I will pick up on the kind of red that I wanted. I'm not going to go for it right away, but then you will see that I'm going to work a little bit into that, making the next layer. So I take the vermilion, and I'm also going to take a bit of Mars red. So you see me taking Mars red right now. Yeah. And once that is done, I'm going to take vermilion, tiny bit of it. And I'm going to mix both these colors So, yes. Okay, you see me mixing both these colors. Wow, yes. What comes out is a beautiful bright red. It looks like maroon, but not really there. It's a beautiful bright red color that I wanted. That happens when we mix Mars red or terracotta together with vermilion. I'm going to use that, and I will take a bit of the raw vermilion the same way it is without mixing any other color to it. Yeah, this is going to help me define two different color tonalities that I will use for her sari or the clothing that she is wearing. Okay, I am now using the zero brush, taking up the gridded paper to just check where the flow of the sari is and where the darker layers are. Where is it slightly darker? Where is it slightly lighter? I'm just adjusting the camera one more time. So, yes, we are now ready to mark the darker areas. That is especially very close to her chest area, where the jewels are. You see me marking those first. Also, her bust line, the curve, that is slightly darker. Yeah, and also places just behind her shoulder, also close to the shoulder, where the hair is. That's also slightly darker. So I'm just marking it. And then, yeah, I start marking those, what do you call, pleats, or the way the cloth is worn on the chest. There's a lot of folds. So I'm just drawing those nice folds coming up. This will not maybe stay for a while when I add the pure vermilion color, but just for the sake of my understanding, I'm adding that here. You see me adding that also down there, close towards the thigh. Right now, I'm just fixing the spot where the thigh, the fold of a thigh. We need to just imagine this as well. Even though we have the picture with us, there are certain things that we can try to do without looking at the picture, but just by just imagining what will be. So, in between the thighs, there is this fold, and that fold creates the crease in the sari. And also, that creates a darker space as compared to the other areas where the light falls more. So that's an important area that I am going to focus on. And also, you'll have to remember that there is this seat, where she's seated, the thigh, where it's coming close to. I'm just moving the camera so it's even more clear. So can you see how I've done this here? In between the thighs, I'm marking. You saw me marking that, and right underneath that, hip line, the thigh, that's also a darker area. And now I'm starting to make those nice curves or lines. Coming back to the sari that is flowing from her shoulder behind, that's called a pallu or a mundana in Tamil, pallu in Hindi. And that also is swinging, it's waving along. There is a beautiful curve forming. I'm just building that first. And right now, I'm adjusting the camera one more time. So the focus comes back down to her thigh area. So this is exactly where you see that beautiful fold, of the yeah, of the dress, of the skirt falling over or flying across from her leg. And I want to make those curves visible a little bit so that I can follow. These are guiding lines. We will work on the details and we will definitely change certain things, but these are the guiding lines that we will have to remember. If it is hard to remember, it's easier for us to just make it now so that somehow when we are painting off, it's easier for us to see through, and then we will follow those main lines or strokes that we made and build on that when we create realistic level of artwork. Yeah, so I'm just doing that, marking it. I think I have marked enough right now. I am now ready to move on to the next step, which is to take another brush. I'm just looking forward to using this angular brush, which is clean though. Yeah, I'm going to use this brush, and also possibly have another brush ready with me if needed. That is also brush number 2, round. So I have an angular brush and also a round brush with me. I'm starting with the angular brush and I've taken vermilion, and I'm just trying to fill in those spaces that aren't filled right now in her sari. So we have marked using that vermilion added to Mars red to give those guiding lines, the strokes or places where they are dark. We have done that, and right now I'm just filling things. So nothing much. We're just going to fill in, following those lines like contours. We are making, what we have made is contours, isn't it? So we have used those contours as main guiding lines, and we are just filling in those spaces with this vermilion. Yeah. Ah, yes. Now I have, yeah, I've just adjusted the camera one more time so it comes close to the area where I am working. Yes. The chest, the hip area where the sari is covered, I am just going on filling in with vermilion. And right now I have moved towards the sari's flow from the shoulder, which is the pallu or the mundane. I'm doing the same thing, but following the contours, following those lines that we made, and filling in the rest of the space with vermilion using an angular brush. Yes, let's go. Yeah. Also keep that in view that we have those, the mala that is flying, that's coming in between. So just be aware of all these things and knock off as much space as possible with this angular brush. And right now, I think I am ready to move on to the um, hip and the thigh area. So doing the same thing, using the vermilion and filling it, coming close to. And if you are, while mixing and filling it, you are missing something, you can always blend it. Right now with the two brush, the brush number 2, I have used a darker tonality, the burnt umber mixed with the um mm, yeah, mixed with vermilion and yellow ochre. I'm using that, whatever is remaining, I'm using that here in those spaces to just create that, darker tonality in between the thigh and also on the seat area. So I am also looking at the space right behind her blouse that is close to, yeah, that as well, the knees and so on. So as much as possible, I have tried to mark which is dark, and now I am just filling that space in for the thigh that is close to Krishna. Right now, I have moved on to the thigh, the next thigh as well. Also, remember the angle. Can you see the angle that I'm making? I'm making straight lines, but I'm also doing that very, very nice, subtle angle to show that curve of the thigh. Yeah. So I did that. Moving the camera one more time, coming close to the skirt. We're nearly there. Again, remember, it should be a mix of circles, um, curves, or essentially following the contours or the lines that we made and filling in with vermilion. Now I just go on to take some more of the vermilion. I did add a little bit of linseed oil in between, but I don't see much of adding that. This is okay going on with this. So I'm just going on with this. We are nearly there. A few more strokes and we are nearly there. Following the contours and filling that nice um, vermilion in. And as you fill, you will see those grid lines also vanishing in some parts. The most of it starts vanishing when we do a little more of those layers. We are right now in the third layer, isn't it? So once we come to the fourth and fifth layer, most of it will be totally gone. But if you are able to knock off early, it's good. Otherwise, it's also fine. I'm just filling in the leg area, making sure that I'm in the balance. And now I move the camera further down for the last part of it. Yes, yeah. And we have this nice small little portion very close to her foot. The sari that is the skirt that is very close to her foot. Yeah, I'm just filling that in, knocking off the last but not the least portion. And also remember the fold. Yeah, the slight fold there. Done. Good. Overall, it looks good. I am now moving on to uh, the brush number two and using that remaining pink or the medium color that we made with yellow ochre and vermilion. I'm just using that in the space where the hip is. There is another cloth line there. I don't want to go into the details, but I just want to define it right now. So I'm just filling it up. Yeah, and yeah, just adding a bit of vermilion to show that angle. Again, it's around her hip, the curve. Yeah. So I'm just doing that. There you go. Yes, nearly there. Yeah, done. Let's now move the camera one more time. Put up things. Yes, fantastic. So we are going to make a stop now and let's just summarize what we have done so far. In this session, we started out with doing what we did similarly to the previous class. We worked on Radha's face. We did a little bit of correction. Though we applied the method as compared to what we did with Krishna's body and face, we also did a little bit on the fingers. Can you see how we drew things and merged, juggled around with the brushes, and we did that. And the moment we were done with that, we also came down to the clothing. We did quite a bit of Radha's clothing. Again, building two colors and moving, juggling around with her with two brushes and doing all these places, marking dark and light and also the contours, right? We will be working on a few more things similar to that in the next class when we do the remaining portion, especially on the clothing of Krishna and also the blouse of Radha. So there's a bit that we will have to work on in the next session. I'm really glad that you were able to join in today's session and tried doing this to share your thoughts, your feedback, comments, and also yeah, your questions to support at theclaystudio.dk. Thank you very much and see you in the next class. Goodbye.